Do you suffer from the debilitating symptoms of chronic pain, swelling, and loss of joint motion due to arthritis? Are you taking drugs like Celebrex and Vioxx or other super aspirin prescriptions? If you are, you're increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke by up to 50%. This is Dr. Tom Roselle, host of Dr. Tom Roselle Live Sundays at 12 noon. Why live with pain or the dangerous side effects of drugs when the doctors at the Roselle Center for Healing, practicing 21st century integrative medicine, can help you experience relief like never before? Simple, safe, chiropractic, acupuncture, and nutritional care can provide significant relief from arthritic pain in less than 6 weeks. More than 70% of our patients experience a return to life far beyond their expectations. Give yourself the best gift possible, freedom from arthritic pain, naturally. Call today to schedule an appointment. Call 703-698-7117 or visit online at rosellecare.com.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live right now on 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
Welcome to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. I'm live in studio. It's beautiful outside. You should be out and walking and talking, but listen to me, through a headset, and we can right all the wrongs of your health world. 888-630-9625, 888-630-WMAL. That's how you find me. I'm here waiting for your phone calls, and we'll talk about anything that you'd like to talk. I've got a couple topics, and we're going to kind of go through them because, you know what? It's Christmas in about 2 days, and we're coming up to the end of the year, and we passed the debacle of the Mayan calendar. It's just a resetting. I've been telling everybody that for a long time. It's like, get it together. Just don't go out and blow it. Don't blow your health just because you think that, the game's over. It's not. It's just beginning. You've got a whole lot of things that you need to do with your health. 888-630-9625. We're going to set the stage today. What does that mean? We're going to set the stage for you to think in a way that'll allow 2013 to be the best year you ever had physically, your wellness index. And then next week, next Sunday, we're going to talk about how to set the standard, how to move you along the course, take you up another level, and to show you how to game plan it, if you will, to make sure that you have the best opportunity. Do you know the Roselle Center for Healing has ongoing in-house continuing education programs? And we'd like to invite all of you in 2013 to participate. They're free to you. All we do, we ask for a reservation. If you go to rosellecare.com and go to the calendar, you'll see it. Most of them are published right there. They're right on the front page. They'll tell you who the doc is, what the topic is, what the presentation is, and all we ask is a reservation. Now, if you haven't had the opportunity to attend and you'd like to see them, here's the other deal. You can go to drtomroselle.com, DRTOM Roselle.com, and you're going to find all kinds of interactive learning as well as our interactive Ageless or in-office continuing education program. They're going to cost you a little bit, not a whole lot, very inexpensive, and you can rent them for a day or you can rent them for a weekend, and you can just really imbue all that information. Most of these programs are about an hour and a half long, and you'll really have the opportunity to take this, make it part of you, and run with it. Everything from Dr. Browning's low back and brain cognitive problems and ankle and hip pain to allergy reactions and so forth. Check it out, drtomroselle.com. So, there's some things in the news, and I want to cover those with you because I think they're important to you. One of the things that got my attention recently is it's a topic on something that when I first read it, I said, hey, wait a minute, there's a problem here. And it was an article that was written in Health Alert. Some of you may have the opportunity to read it. And it's written by a guy by the name of Dr. Bruce West. And Dr. West is this crazy doc out on the West Coast who really has his act together when it comes to nutrition. And his advisory board for this newsletter that he writes is huge with some tremendously credentialed doctors. Anyway, he was saying that, and there was a study that he was going after, and he posed it as a question. He said, does cod liver oil cause malignant melanoma? Well, when I saw that, I said, you know what? I prescribe and have been prescribing cod liver oil for years for all kinds of problems. And so obviously I got into it and I had to do the backup research and said, there's been some interest, and it goes into a study from 1997, Norwegian study, that showed that women who consumed cod liver oil had increased rates of cutaneous malignant melanomas, in this basically skin cancers that are very deadly. And the study was a pretty good study because it used real people, if you will, and those people with an alternative to real cod liver oil used the data to condemn cod liver oil and promote their own products. So once you see something like that, you say, whoa, wait a minute, okay, there's something more here. The findings were kind of interesting, and it seems to isolate the increased rates of melanoma in women to cod liver oil consumption, even though other studies showed opposite findings. So that sets you back and say, wait a minute, there's a problem here. Well, the Norwegian study showed that increased rates of melanoma in women who consumed the, if you will, the condemned versions of this cod liver oil showed that there was reduced rates in women who drank coffee. Okay, so now another flag goes up for me, because I try to get people off of coffee unless it's something like organic Kona, which is kind of neutral because of the acid levels and the caffeine being just as addictive to the brain as things like heroin and cocaine and so forth. Yet, the researchers who had no financial interest in the study suggested that there was a relationship between melanoma and these other non-cod liver oil substances to be inconclusive. I said, okay, now they got my interest again. And they said that the lack of consistency in the findings made it difficult to draw conclusions regarding coffee and, people who were doing these other types of substances. Okay, so we go on, and I want you to, take the time. This stuff is all available online. Go to Health Alert, and you can find it even in the Library of Congress. It gives you the issue number of 1083-8325, and start reading this thing. But here's the researchers summed everything up by simply saying this: there is a female-specific association between incidence of melanoma and these other substances in coffee. That means that women somehow react differently to the biochemistry of cod liver oil and coffee. Okay? Well, the results are due to chance, or there's a residual element that is about, not enough education in here. We don't have enough data. There's a social class. Is there sun exposure? Are they out in the sun much more often? The study wasn't as tight as it could be. And this means that the results have had nothing to do with cod liver oil or coffee, but rather to perhaps education and sun exposures and lifestyle habits and so forth. So what does that mean? That means that there's so much garbage out there that is confusing, and don't take what headlines say to heart, because even when it gets my attention and I've got to read through it and say, hey, what's the deal here? Not a good thing. It's definitely not a good thing. 888-630-9625, 888-630-WMAL. Keep taking your cod liver oil. Just make sure that it's good stuff. It's from fresh waters and the fish are not polluted. JD, how can I help you? Thanks for calling.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Roselle. I'm a new patient as of the last few months. I'm calling in general to give accolades to the Roselle Center in general, and Dr. Leonard Poe and Stephanie in particular. Dr. Poe has, I've been on the right track. I'm an old gym rat with vegetarian diet, supplements, etc., but I had knee issues, thyroid issues, sugar issues, atrial fib issues. I've only had a couple of months of treatments with Dr. Poe and Stephanie, and they've corrected my knees, my foot. Dr. Poe in particular, as Stephanie with acupuncture has lowered my skip beats, and I'm lower heart rate without medication, and I'm taking traction, cold laser treatment, and it's just incredible what advances. I've been on the right track, but I'm a whole new level with the Roselle Center and Dr. Poe and Stephanie in particular, and I just want you to know that what they've done for me since I'm an older guy, but it's like a rejuvenation for me.
JD, you made my Christmas. That was like the best Christmas gift you could have possibly given me. Plus the fact that you're being treated by two of my better practitioners in the office. They know their stuff. Dr. Poe really understands thyroid function. Stephanie is a great physician. She's, as you know, a doctor of naturopathy as well as an acupuncturist. And when you integrate all the pieces together, you get the results that you're getting. I'm really delighted, and what a great way for you to start the new year.
It's only been a few months, and all these changes, even though I've been on the right track, but it's a whole new level, and I can't thank you enough. And I also sent your office a whole set of nuts from Figgies Incorporated.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you, Dr. Roselle.
Have a good day. 888-630-9625. You know, something like that for me is better than any gift, any card, any acknowledgement. That tells me that what we've been doing over the years is something that is substantial, it's working, it's helping people, it's helping you reach another level, that you don't have to accept, well, what do I expect from my age? That you, wherever you are at this moment in time, you can change, you can get stronger, you can prolong, you can be better. And that's really what we're about. That's why we do what we do, and that's what we need to do for you. You know, if you want to have a manual to be able to take you through the steps, to be able to start things on your own, to get your headspace, remember there's only 3 things that cause anything, structural, chemical, emotional, then you really need to get a copy of my book, Ageless Health. Health is a do-it-yourself program. I wrote that book so everybody could have an insight into why things break down in the body, the why, the real why, and what you can do to begin the process of changing anything. Go to my website. Go to drtomroselle.com or go to Roselle Center for Healing, and then go to the web store, and you will find the book there with other kinds of items as well as of interest. But pick it up and apply it. It's inexpensive, but it's something that will begin to change the way you look at things for the rest of your life. drtomroselle.com. We're here at 888-630-WMAL. Let's talk about a few other things that you need to know about. There's a new drug on the horizon called Victoza. Interesting name, right? Well, there's no such thing as a good diabetic drug, and they're putting this out as being the end-all and be-all. As far as I'm concerned, if you understand the process, whether it's a diabetes insipidus, something that's coming from the central nervous system, or whether it's a failure in adrenal stimulation, an inflammatory reaction, the pancreas can't work anymore. Anyway, this drug, Victoza, is on the market, and the bottom line, there's still no good diabetic drug. So millions of Americans have started taking this drug primarily because there was a huge endorsement out there by this actor and restaurateur, Paula Deen, and you know what she's doing for Victoza is like you've seen Sally Fields out there, you know, with the osteoporosis drug. Well, it's called Star Power, and that's how they're beginning to market all these things. See, they make you think that if you don't take this stuff, you're missing something, and the bottom line is that when they get out there and do things like this, it's not on the merit of the medication. It's simply because they have somebody who doesn't know squat, if you will, about medication, but's reading a script and selling it. You buy it. You know what she did? She doubled their sales. She doubled their sales simply because you think that, you know, because she says so, it's great. It's not because there's some altruistic reason why she's out there, you know, banging the bully pulpit. It's because they're putting a big check in her pocket. They're paying her to do that. They're paying her to dupe you into thinking that's a good thing. So, you know, at the same time, Victoza sales are climbing. Public Citizens, the Public Health Watchdog organization, they petitioned the Food and Drug Administration to ban this drug. They don't want it out there. So why would this watchdog organization, Public Citizen, ban it? Well, let me tell you why. Well, with all diabetes drugs, it's dangerous. Number one, the drug's own label on the side panel says it causes thyroid tumors and cancer in laboratory animals. Well, if it does it in lab animals, do you think it's not going to do it to you? It says that the drug's effect on humans are not clear. BS. Public Citizens, they've got all kinds of stuff out there so that people are coming down with this stuff. This is just kind of the way they're cloaking this thing. Well, the Public Citizens group says that the drug can cause thyroid cancer, pancreatitis, allergic reactions, kidney failures. 17 months, there's been 200 reported cases of acute pancreatitis, and this is like a ridiculously serious condition, you know, that you don't fool with, and it often requires hospitalization, and often it'll cause death. You're done. So Victoza is not the drug that these people are trying to position. So I would encourage you that if your doctor says Victoza is the great thing, that you need to do something else, you need to call us, and we'll tell you how to actually get through it. You know, it's called Change Your Habits, Get Some Exercise, Watch the Dietary Patterns, Upregulate Your Energetic Field, and then you'll end up like JD. You'll have a new lease on life. Things will change for you. It can make a difference. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. I am in studio at 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. Love to talk to you. Talking about some very interesting and controversial situations here. Some things in the news, and there's another one here that I need to go over because, as much as it hurts me to say, and then I'm going to throw the screwball in on it after a while. It says, coffee drinkers rejoice. So here's the deal. I don't drink coffee. And I go into, and I was telling Luke when I walked in, I said, maybe 3 times a year, 4 times a year, I get a little stupid because I go to a really, really good Italian restaurant and my heritage flares up and I've got to have, a good cup of espresso. And the next morning I don't feel so hot, but nevertheless, I done like everybody else and I drink a lot of water, get it out of my system and don't do it again. Well, the deal is for me, the need for that caffeine that goes into the central nervous system, and now there's a lot of studies showing that caffeine actually decreases cognitive function over a long period of time, and people who are older that have been drinking coffee for a period of time begin to lose that short-term memory, and it's enhanced by caffeine. So the jitteries and all those things, the fact that it affects liver function because it's got to be processed there. But there's also research out there that says that coffee might be good for you. So what does it say? Well, there's some studies out there that says coffee lowers your risk for coronary artery disease and heart failure. It cuts the risk of stroke by 25%. It promotes weight loss. Why? Because it increases your metabolism, makes you jittery, makes you go crazy and that kind of stuff. But it lowers your risk of depression. Why? Because of the drug inducement. But when you're not on it, you also become more depressed because the drug is addictive. It improves blood sugar metabolism and decreases your risk of type 2 diabetes. But if you are sensitive or are allergic, which many people are to coffee, not just caffeine, but coffee, it actually rebounds and makes things worse. It will increase your inflammatory barrier so blood sugar can't be transported. So for some people, depending on the study, it may act as an enhancement. For other people, based on susceptibility, it can make things worse. So the disease seems to slow the progression of things like cirrhosis and hepatitis in some studies, and it's actually even helpful in dry eye syndrome. In gout, not so much, because in our clinical observations over 36 years, what we find are people, because gout comes from the liver, and it's a failure in purine metabolism, if you're drinking coffee and you're overburdening phase 1 detoxification in the liver, you actually can make gout worse. So in our practice, when somebody has gout or that type of thing, we will take them off of that. The problems associated with coffee drinking are potentially high blood pressure, and you can't sleep, insomnia, because no matter what time of the day you happen to drink, an increased risk, by the way, for glaucoma. And this is what I've told patients for years. Because of the inflammatory reaction that's caused by coffee in so many people, that you get tissue breakdown, anxiety. We see patients who come in with benign tremors, and the withdrawal symptoms are huge. They're headache, I can't stay awake, I don't feel good, because people substitute coffee for water. And I've said so many times, if you're going to drink coffee, make sure you have a big glass of water that is larger than the cup of coffee that you're going to have before you have the coffee in the morning. And only have it in the morning, and make sure that it's either organic Green Mountain coffee or organic Kona coffee, because at least it's closer to neutral. So, if you do drink coffee, brew it yourself with fresh organic beans, make it with purified water, not junk, and don't add anything to it. Drink black coffee. Yeah, black, I said black. Don't put, I'm sorry, Starbucks, but, all the stuff that you put in it, not good for people. But coffee, not for me, but, it may be good for some of you, but some of you, it's going to actually make things worse. So how do you know? Ask me. We'll figure it out. We'll test you for our patients. Bring it in. We'll test it on neurological points, and you'll know. You'll know whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's not. Now I said it, and, it's the deal. I can't refute. But green beans will increase your metabolism and will increase your burn rate. It's out there. As much as I hate to admit it, for some of you, this thing may not be a bad deal. But for some people, it is. Got a lot more. Got so many things out there. It's one of those things. I sit around and I look and I read and I listen and I pay attention, and there's so much that I want to share with you, that you're being basically deceived by Fifth Avenue marketing. They're putting things out there. They're saying, this is great. This stuff is the best of the best of the best. And I'm sitting back there and I'm saying, I don't think so. There's a problem here, and you really need to know what the problems are. So how do you do that? You have to become your own best advocate. You have to become knowledgeable. You have to begin to understand what it is that makes you healthy and what it is that will begin to break your body down. How do you do that? You start one piece at a time, obviously by listening to me, because I'm going to tell you the truth. And, when we lower cholesterol, for example, they're saying cholesterol is a bad thing. Well, there's a thing about cholesterol and diabetes. Well, once you determine that if you lower your cholesterol with statin drugs, guess what happens? You increase your risk of diabetes. Common sense says that, if you have adequate cholesterol, it's protective against diabetes if you really understand the mechanism. And we're going to talk a little bit about that when we come back after the news, because so many people come in, well, my doctor said I have to take this. Well, you know what? When I was in school, normal cholesterol was 225. And the other markers were within a different margin. But they never talked about inflammatory pathways. And this is what it's all about. You need to get it. You need to understand it. And so many of you in a couple days and all the junk you're going to eat the next week or two are going to cause more inflammation than you ever want to think about and make yourself sick going into the first of the year. Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. Yes, I am. I'm in studio. 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. Love to talk to you. Anything that you have on your mind, let's discuss it. I'm talking about a few things that are slightly controversial, but you need to know about them anyway. Want to encourage you, go to our website, drtomroselle.com, D-R-T-O-M, Roselle, R-O-S-E-L-L-E.com. Great new website for all of you to learn from. It is set up for your interactive learning. There's health and wellness on your terms. There's even the Ageless Health TV special. By the way, before I forget, and I'll tell you again next week when I see you, but on January the 1st, WIDA PBS is re-airing the Ageless Health PBS television program. It's beyond amazing. If you haven't had the opportunity to see it, make sure you put it aside. It's, I think, at 11 or 11:30 in the morning. It runs an hour and a half. Don't miss it. It's a phenomenal, phenomenal production. If you really want to see what the integration of the Triad of Health can do, January 1st, 11 or 11:30, get on WIDA's website. They'll tell you exactly what the date is. I'll tell you again next Sunday, but nevertheless, this is something that is eye-opening. It'll show you how 6 people who were given up by the medical profession with cases like multiple sclerosis, anaphylaxis, seizure reactions, neurological dysfunction, TIAs, a little boy who was basically failure to thrive and ADHD, were totally turned around 100%. By the methods that we use encompassing, embracing the Triad of Health and the 5 factors, and we explain that to you, and you really get a great understanding of it, and you'll get an opportunity with a donation to WIDA, to PBS, to actually own that program for yourself. You can buy it from them. They'll give it to you. You'll be able to get the best of. There's a whole package that they sell. But nevertheless, check it out, January the 1st. But go to our website, Dr. Tom Roselle, Triad of Health, Interactive Learning. If you'd like to follow me and look at the blogs, go to Facebook. I blog every week 2 or 3 times and give you different information tidbits and give you the opportunity to get a hold of me if you'd like to talk to me or any of my doctors off the air. All you need to do is go to drtomroselle.com or Roselle Center for Healing. Send us a note. We'll get back to you. We'll tell you exactly, what we think on the subject. If you'd like to talk to us personally, one of my guys will get back to you within a very short period of time. We're here to serve you. That's why we do what we do. That's the ongoing purpose of doing this program, treating the people that we see. We're talking about cholesterol, so let's talk about it a little bit. So we talked about what happens when you lower your cholesterol too low, right? So when you lower your cholesterol too low, you increase your risk of diabetes. Flat out, that's the way it is. If I've heard it one time, I've heard it thousands of times, that the lower the cholesterol, the better. You walk into your doctor's office, you got a cholesterol 125, unless it's inherited genetically, that's dangerous. That's too low because your body needs cholesterol. Low cholesterol is not a good thing. It's actually dangerous. So it's for many reasons, but if my cholesterol drops, below 190, And even when I'm working out, all of a sudden I get concerned. I wonder if my liver's working the way it's supposed to. Am I getting enough cholesterol for hormone function? Is my brain going to work the way it's supposed to? But you can end up with permanent damage. So, if you're on a statin and you suddenly experience any of the problems of, irritability or muscle pain, muscle ache, cognitive dysfunction, you start seeing your blood sugars shift or your cholesterol shift, there's a problem. And you need to get to your doctor and get these drugs out of your body immediately, because there's other ways of doing it, number one, but they're going to make you worse. As I keep telling you, there was a study that was done, published in the New England Journal of Medicine, that simply says that you have to treat 100 guys for 5 years with a statin to prevent one heart attack. Stuff doesn't work. It just makes problems worse. Remember, heart attack and heart disease and arterial disease is about inflammation. It is not about cholesterol. So, you end up with memory loss, and, that can ultimately become permanent. You got to stop these stuff. Even if you're off the statins, if it's due to the statins, sometimes it doesn't go away, and that's the problem. There's a reference that you can go to. It's called, quote, FDA adds diabetes to memory loss warnings to statin, and you can go to www.reuters.com, and it's February 28th, 2012. Very up-to-date stuff that's going to scare the heck out of you, and you really need to understand the deal. 888-630-9625. Let's talk about some more things that you need to know about, particularly coming up the new year, and to make sure that you're prepared, that you do what you need to do before it's too late, before you get into trouble, before things happen that are irreversible. It's amazing to me that we sit there and we listen to the so-called experts, and we think that they're experts because they're advertising on television. And, we think that they know what they need to know, and that, the Federal Communications Commission wouldn't allow this stuff on TV if it wasn't true. Well, that's the first lie. That's the first lie. They put things on there because somebody's paying them to put it on there, and then after the fact, somebody files a class action suit or sues somebody for saying the wrong thing. Then they say, well, that wasn't right, but then the damage has been done. The damage is to your health, it's to your longevity, it's to your livelihood of having what was given to you by your Creator. You should live well, strong, healthy, for an ongoing period of time, meaning 120 years, 125 years. How many of you are going to make it that long? Say, I don't want to live that long. Well, why don't you want to live that long? Because in the back of your head, you're scared to death that you're not going to have the strength to do it. How many get outside on a day-to-day basis? How many do any kind of exercise? Take 10 minutes, even if you divide up in 5 minutes and 5 minutes, and do isometric type of exercise. How many of you do things that are calming and listen to music? How many of you watch what it is that you're putting on your plate, and it's not catch as catch can. You're going to grab junk and just to get something so you can move from pillar to post. How many of you actually plan what it is that you're going to do? If you sit down and plan, it's not hard. It's the fact that you don't plan. It's the fact that you don't take the time. It's the fact that you listen to all these idiots out there that are telling you that you should have this or that junk. Do you know that most of the supplementation, the multiple vitamins on the marketplace, the stuff that you get from your pharmacies and other, places that advertise cheap stuff are junk, that they don't do any good? They're made from petroleum products because you think that all these things are created equally. Well, and then you have articles that come out and say vitamins don't work. Well, they don't work because they're using studies of synthetic vitamins, things that are made from petroleum, from oil. Well, when that comes down the pike, you got to take another look at it and say, all right, maybe I should be doing things that come from natural foods, from whole foods. What do you think? You think that they might have a little lead on the subject there? I think so. I think that it needs to be reconsidered. There's a pilot study with omega-3 fatty acids and sickle cell, but you can also extend this to thalassemia. People from my end of the world, from Italy, and sickle cell from the southern part of the Mediterranean, and thalassemia from the northern part of the Mediterranean. Well, what they saw is that people who used foods that were high in omega-3 fatty acids did not have the number of crises, whether they actually had the disease or the trait, that other people who didn't. So the only reason I bring that up, here's another thing that can cause a lot of pain to people if it's not treated properly, if you're not living the way that you're supposed to. And it's article after article, but you have to get into the why is that. And this thing was published in a very, very reputable journal. You know, the authors basically said that DHA and EPA supplementation reduce the number of crises and steady state of hemolysis. That's destruction of the red blood cell. So don't you think when there are things out there that you should need to know a little bit more? Tony, how can I help you? Thank you for calling.
How you doing, Dr. Roselle? Yes, I was listening to your, I'm listening to your show. I know you just were talking about drinking coffee. If you drink, at least drink the bad coffee. But I drink instant coffee because I don't like the strong coffee. I don't like too mild either. The instant coffee feels good. It's not really strong or not very...
Instant coffee, Tony, has been processed, and it's already broken down, and it has a tendency to form high levels of free radicals, which is going to cause further destruction and degradation within your body. So if you're going to drink coffee at all, you need to make sure that they're organic coffee. It has to be filtered water. And it should be either Green Mountain coffee, organic Green Mountain coffee, or organic Kona coffee. Otherwise, you're going to set up a high level of inflammatory response in your body. So you have, you know, it's like the good piece and the bad piece. The good piece is there's some studies out there that say that coffee can be beneficial to you. There's the bad piece that say any kind of coffee and any kind of caffeine is addictive to the central nervous system in the brain because it goes after the same receptors that things like cocaine and heroin and so forth do. But if you're gonna do it, you have to make sure that you're doing it the right way. And the only way that is right is organic coffee distilled, and it has to be either Kona or Green Mountain coffee. And then you can get away with it, but don't drink more than about a cup of coffee a day. And
no more than one.
No more than one. And say what, I mean, most people, you know, we substitute coffee and we substitute tea instead of drinking water. And our body needs water to flush the lymphatic system. So if you're going to have a cup of coffee in the morning, start out with a glass of water that is a little bit more than the cup of coffee. Then have your coffee. And then then drink water and then switch to green tea, because green tea is going to, for a man, is going to protect your prostate. It's also going to protect your brain. Has tremendously high polyphenols. It's a great, great product. Tony?
Green tea.
Yep. I hope that helps you.
Okay.
Thank you for calling, my friend. I appreciate it. 888-630-9625, 888-630-WMAL. Talking about tidbits, if you will, all kinds of things that are in the news that you need to know about planning your new year. But you know what? Let's plan a healthy Christmas. Let's talk about a little bit about what you can be doing in the next couple of days to make life a little different, because, you know, you're going to go to Christmas parties, you're going to drink way too much, and, you know, for some of you, that's just a drink, and, you know, for some of you, that's, you know, eating all the sugars and crap. Do you ever wonder why that we have more colds and more flus this time of the year than any other time of the year? Well, I'm going to give you a little insight to it. Think about this. 1 teaspoon of sugar of any kind decreases the white blood cell capacity to work by 12% for 8 hours. Doesn't kill it, puts it to sleep. So you get a virus that comes in and a bacteria that comes in, and most of these guys are around all year long, and now your white blood cells are asleep, so your immune system is crashed. You increase your inflammatory response because of all the wonderful things that you're eating: sugar, sodas, coffee, teas, fast food, fried foods, alcohol, gluten, additives. You know the mantra, right? And much more than you normally would. Instead of water, you're drinking, you know, hot toddies, and you're drinking alcohol and so forth. So your body's even dehydrating even more. And the weather's changing. It's cold. We just came off some beautiful weather, and now it's cold and nasty. That's a stress to your body. You're not getting any sleep because you're running from pillar to post. So what do you think? You're going to be able to handle this? So towards the end of the holiday season in January, oh my God, the flu hits. And did you wonder why you're more susceptible now than you did before? That's why. You need to figure out how to do things in moderation, buffer it, get some sleep, because if you don't, you're going to be in major, major, major trouble. But, you know, there's healthy things that you can do out there when people come in and, you know, you're throwing a house party, and, you know, you don't have to have all the garbage that's out there. Do something that's really cool. You know, so those of you who are not gluten sensitive, you can use whole wheat cookies made with honey or agave, some of the better substitutes. And what you're going to find is that they're going to even actually taste better. They'll have some flavor to it instead of eating cardboard that's sweet. My opinion, it's garbage. How about flavored popcorn? How about, popping up some popcorn and putting them into, to bowls and then, putting honey around them, and you can make snacks. You can make your own trail mix. There's a lot of little things that you can do for your kids as well that make a difference. Roasted nuts. Have you ever had roasted nuts? They're great. If you want to do it with chocolate, get organic chocolate, melt it, take the nuts, dump them in, and now you can do it with pecans and almonds and things of that nature. You can put, cocoa on it, or again, you can use honey. These are great substitutions. There's great things, and they're not as bad as the other garbage that, we have a tendency to put into our system. We can make a difference. We just don't choose to sometimes. So what are you going to do? How are you going to plan the holiday? You got a couple of days left over. You can really do some things that are better. You can do some things that are different. If you're in my house, you're going to see all kinds of great stuff. People ask, what are you having for Christmas? Well, we're going to have pasta, but it's not going to be made with wheat, and we're going to have vegetables, many different types of it, and we're going to have a roast that's going to be free-ranged, and we're going to have probably a turkey or a chicken, and we're going to have some good-for-you things and appetizers and so forth that are very Italian, but they're going to be made with love and consideration and organic substances. Welcome back. Dr. Tom Roselle here, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-WMAL. Love to talk to you. Christmas is coming up 2 days a week. 2 days away, not 2 days a week. It should be 2 days a week. Every week ongoing, it would be a beautiful thing for all of us, because it's probably the only time of the year that some of us actually take the time to look at somebody and be peaceful with our attitude towards them. But I don't know, after going through the malls the last week or so, tight skin. Too many of you just get all locked up. And, instead, I'd love to go to the malls this time of the year. People look at me like, are you nuts? What's the matter with you? I go and sit and I watch the rest of you. I watch you walk and I watch you get uptight and I watch you react. And I'm sitting there, man, why? Just sit down with me. Have a cup of tea with me. We'll sit and watch everybody else and kind of laugh at them. Go in and be nice. And, go say hello to somebody. The clerks that are like over the top, be nice to them, and you'll get a little bit more from them. People react from kindness a whole lot more than they do to a grizzly bear. So remember that. So because some of you are out in the malls today, tomorrow you're going to do your last minute shopping, and realize that if you change your attitude, it might actually be an enjoyable experience. You might have some fun. Stop a little bit. Sit down. Go visit Santa Claus. Go sit on his knee. Go relax. Tell the guy that's sitting there that, that he's doing a great service. Put a nickel or $1 or $100, in the Salvation Army kettle, and be kind to people. Do it on purpose. You might actually like it. It might be a habit that, you'll continue for the rest of the year. Be a really good thing. It's like planning for wellness. Next week, we're going to plan for wellness. We're going to plan for wellness in 2013. We're going to talk about health and fitness and dieting and the things that you need to do proactively. So start thinking about that. Don't get so torqued up. I'm going to put you in a place that you can achieve a whole lot more than you've ever achieved in your life relative to your wellness. Because the fact is, if you're listening to me, you're still breathing. And if you're still breathing, you can change virtually anything in your body. You are not stagnant. You're either going to get better or you're going to get worse. What's your choice? What do you want to do? You want to get better or you want to get worse? Do you want to have the capacity to achieve and reach for anything that you want? Or do you want to do the Christmas thing and sit there and drink way too much, and, the eggnog goes down, and you wonder why the next morning that your head is pounding, your hands are stiff, and you can't think about anything? Jesse, how can I help you? Thanks for your calling.
Hi, Doctor.
Hi, Jesse.
I have a question about organic, unfiltered apple cider vinegar.
Great. What's the question?
Typically, I drink probably between 2 and 3 tablespoons in the morning.
Okay.
The first thing before I have anything to eat, I mix it with a full glass of water and drink it down.
Okay.
I feel like it helps me be more regular in going to the bathroom.
It does, because it alkalinizes you.
So and it's also, I feel like it helps keep my skin on my face. I'm almost 30, but I still suffer from pimples from time to time. I feel like as long as I'm drinking that on a daily basis, I don't get nearly as many pimples.
It helps. So let me tell you, Bragg's organic vinegar is the best one to use.
That's what I use.
And you use 2 tablespoons. You don't have to go to 3. Use 2, it's plenty. And water. and, from time to time, mix it with a little Tupelo honey, about a teaspoon of Tupelo honey. Okay. And it will dramatically alkalinize your body. Even though that vinegar is a slight acidic substance, once it metabolizes in your body, it converts to alkaline. And what it does, it shifts your body chemistry, your pH, alkaline. That's why you're noticing the differences. It'll help detoxify because you're going to an alkaline state. But like anything else, you want to give your body a break periodically, because anything that you use on a regular basis without stopping, it will become allergic. So you want to look at your entire diet relative to acid-alkaline balances. You always want to be about 80% alkaline with the foods that you eat, whether it's slightly alkaline or very alkaline, and you want to keep the acidity levels of the things that you eat down low. So, for example, if you're a meat eater and you have a piece of meat, you want to make sure that piece of meat is accompanied with a whole lot of vegetables at that meal and not any starches. If you get up in the morning and you have a couple eggs, you also want to make sure that afterwards you're going to have something that is alkalizing, maybe a piece of fruit, but not with it because it'll putrefy. So there's a whole lot of hygiene eating that comes into place. But yes, it's great for you. You need to keep it up. The fact that you still have some problems with acne tells me that your intestinal tract and your liver is not working quite as good as it should be. Get yourself a really good probiotic on top of that and take it about 3 times a day. See if that shifts a little bit more, and make sure that you're getting at least close to half of your body weight in water every day, so you're flushing your lymphatic system, but make sure that it's good water. Jesse, happy holidays, Merry Christmas. Talk to you soon.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye. Coming up to the end of the program. So sad, because I have so much more to tell you, but nevertheless, I will continue to do that regularly every week for you, because my consideration is your health. Go to Facebook, go to drtomroselle.com, buy the book, follow the guides, and if we can ever help you, let us know, give us a call, or send us a note at drtomroselle.com. See you next week. Merry Christmas, belated Happy Hanukkah. Love you all. See you later. Bye.
Did you know that breast cancer is on the rise and that routine annual mammograms can increase radiation exposure to breast tissue 1,000 times over a chest X-ray? The result could increase the risk of developing breast cancer. Now, consider a simple, non-invasive, and totally safe adjunct medical procedure approved by the FDA, which can detect evidence of breast cancer 5 to 8 years before it can be visualized on a mammogram. Infrared thermographic imaging can accurately detect initial signs of breast cancer, such as increased blood supply and metabolic rate, which is recorded as heat. Why expose yourself to radiation when accurate and safe medical detection is available? Call Thermography Centers at 888-485-7736. That's 888-485-7736. And for more information, visit thermographycenters.com.
The Roselle Center for Healing is a proud supporter of breast cancer awareness and reminds you to conduct a monthly breast self-examination and include a thermographic breast scan as part of your annual wellness checkup.